Hi, this is Everett, Everett's Watercolors. Welcome to my studio. Here today I work in Everett's Watercolors. I'm going to do a demonstration on watercolors. And I'm broadcasting live from my studio. I'm just broadcasting live to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and later on to Instagram. And I'm in my studio with my wife Gloria today.
Hello.
And she'll be monitoring the broadcast and also monitoring the chat room. The chat room's live, so if you have any questions or comments during the broadcast, set those down on there, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And even after the broadcast, if you see this video, you can write the comments in the description below in the comments section, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So if this is your first time tuning in, please subscribe to my channel. It'll keep you aware of my next live video and other videos on my Facebook page and also on YouTube. So think about that. Give me a thumbs up and a like, and those are really appreciated. They help with my rating. So today I'm going to introduce my new set of brushes. This is a Silver Brush Dagger Striper. And I've got three sizes. I'll show those to you in a moment. But this is introduction. It's on my website, everettswatercolors.com. And you go to my supply page, and I got them on there ready to go. So I hope you like today's demonstration, and maybe invest in a new brush, because these things are fantastic, and I'll show you what they can do. I'm going to do a small painting today, and I'll be using those brushes. Okay, I'm going to take you to my painting table overhead. Okay, these are the three sizes that I have. I'm going to start here with these are Silver Brush Black Velvets. I have a 1/4 inch, which is a smaller one, and this is a 3/8 inch. So there's two sizes there, a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 inch. And then I've got a big one, which is a 1/2 inch. This is the Golden Natural Silver Brush. Silver Brush is the maker, and this is a Golden Natural 1/2 inch size. So I got three nice sizes, and I'll show you today. I'm going to demonstrate a painting today, and I'll be using all three of these. So, but before I go, I'm going to show you a couple little things here with the Dagger Brush I think you'll find interesting. I just started using this recently, and I've just really fallen in love with them. I've got a small pad here I'm going to show, and I got my standard palette here of all my Holbein watercolors. And the first thing I do is I wet the brush, just put a little water in it, and wipe it off. And let's see, I think I'll start with a little bit of Hooker's Green over here. And I load the brushes to the side, just like I do all the other brushes. And you can see here how much of a sharp point this comes to. And it's just shaped like a dagger. It's a very sharp point, and nice long hairs on it, holds lots of pigment. And the first thing I can do with that is I can do a line. And the more pressure, the thicker the line gets. Okay? Bring it up here to the camera, you can see that. You can start with a real thin line, and then as you push down on the brush, it gets thicker and thicker. Okay? Another one I like to do, now if I load my brush up on the side, I can lay the brush down on the side of the bristle and drag it across, and I can get a nice wide stroke, just like a flat brush. So I can get a nice wide stroke, cover a lot of area with the side of the brush. Then I can also do dots. If I want to put texture somewhere, put like dots in the on the ground, showing rocks and sticks and stones and things like that. So I can use the tip of the brush for something like that, and then I can use the tip of the brush also to make grass. So I can do a nice sweeping motion like that to give me grass strokes, weeds, twigs on the trees, and so forth like that. So this one brush I can do everything a round brush or a flat brush can do with just one brush. Just fantastic. Okay, let me show you another couple of things here I have. Let me take, I think I'll leave the same brush here. I'm going to load the brush up with a little bit of blue. This is Cerulean Blue. A little demonstration of Cerulean Blue. Now I'm going to double load. Now I'm going to put a little bit of Quinacridone Violet on the tip, and then I'm just going to take the side of the brush. I'm going to do like a sweeping motion and do a wiggle. Okay, and I'll load the brush again. And double load, get the tip, and I'll come around and lay it down and lay it flat and do a little wiggle again, do a little sweeping motion to the right. Load the brush again, double load. Then I'll turn the paper a little bit. Instead of trying to move my paintbrush, I'll move the paper and do another little sweeping motion, little swirling step. Now you can see I'm beginning to make the shape of a flower. And then I'll take a dip again, a double load, and then one more. And I'll lay it down flat, put the point of the brush into the center of the subject, which is the flower, and then do a little twirl motion. Okay. And that gives me it doesn't matter what kind of flower it is, but it's a flower shape, what I have there. Then I can go in and do just a little fine tuning now. Fill in the center of that a little bit. Okay. Then I go back and pick up, I'm using the same brush. This is the 1/4 inch. Take this, just take the point of this and make a little stem. And go back and load the brush again, and then go ahead and paint some leaves. And at the bottom, I can put this with the stroke I showed you before. Put some grass strokes on the bottom. So right there, I just made a simple little demonstration how with the brush strokes around, the swirl, and then down like this for making a stem, using the tip of the brush, and then making a little dab on the paper, make the leaves, and then the little grass marks down here to make the grass with the tip of the brush. Now, one of the things I do whenever you get a new brush, you want to load it up with paint and you want to play with it a little bit. So I've been working on this, off and on. But let's say I want to do a sweep like this, and I want to turn the brush and then go this way. I'm gonna make a little more water in the brush. Start here, go up, turn the brush. Okay. That'll give you a ribbon effect. Let's try that one more time. Turn the brush. Go down the way. Okay. So that you'll get all kinds of shapes with this brush work just by turning the brush around and move in different directions and stuff like that. Okay, I have a lot of fun with this. Okay, so let me put that aside for a second, and let's bring out my painting for today.
Would that work for a mountain?
I'm sorry.
That last brush stroke, would that work for a mountain?
Oh yes, of course. If you were doing a landscape and you wanted this to be a background, this could be a mountain or a hill, something like that. As long as you sweeping, or it could be a wave in the ocean. So there's all kinds of ways you can use this brush to do different shapes. I was just trying to do that there as a demonstration of play with the brush, move in different directions. I like the texture that I can get here. With the brush stroke here, I can get a very broken design or pattern for trees and bushes and stuff like that. which I can't do with another brush because it's too much concentration in the paint. Okay, let me lay this aside. Okay, let me, my demonstration today, I'm going to do a little composition. I'm going to do leaves. I mean, leaves are something that this brush can really do a lot. I'm going to show you how powerful it is. I found this little floral arrangement in the store, and I just took a quick picture of it. I saw lots of leaves, so all different directions and different sizes. So that was something that got me started thinking about that. And then I took another photograph. This is a photograph I took when I was out looking at landscapes. And I took a photograph, but I also can turn this around. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to use the shape here, little S shape here, and I'm going to put some flowers around it in different places. And it's got basically an S shape. So I got something here that's vertical along with something vertical. So I'm going to combine these two photographs into a small demonstration painting. Okay. All right. So I've gone ahead and did a design drawing, and I got the leaves along here, and I put a curve shape in here. Starts out like an S up here, comes down, and it curls down here. I got a couple of flowers in there and so forth. So that's going to be my composition for today. S shape and a bunch of leaves and some flowers. Okay. And I'm going to use the Dagger brush to paint it. Now I transferred that drawing to my watercolor paper. Now this is a 140 pound, this is Strathmore 140 pound watercolor pad, which measures 9 by 12 inches. And I have those in my inventory also. But 140 pound is at least a good weight to start with for all kinds of watercolor. Whether you're doing a painting or going plein air or whatever, uses at least 140 pound weight. Okay, so I'm going to start here with a quarter inch. I'm going to start out with a quarter inch. So I'm going to start out with some green. I'm going to load the brush on the side, and I'm going to start up here in the middle. No, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to start with a little bit of yellow I'm going to get a little bit of yellow over here. A little bit of light green. Let's see, what I'll do is get a little bit of water, get a little bit more water in the palette here. Wet up my paints. So there's a little bit of yellow over here. This is lemon yellow. Yellow lemon. And here I have Hooker's green. So I'll get a little more water, I'll get a little mixture in there, get some water mixed up in there. And then I've got a little bit of Ultramarine Blue up here in the top. Give me a little darker color now and then. I'll bring a little blue into the green, right there. And I got a little bit of Payne's Gray over here on the side. A little bit of Payne's Gray up here on the top. It'll darken it up. And then for the flowers, I'm going to put in some of that, I'm going to use some of that blue. This is Cerulean Blue I'm going to use up here. So I'll get that wetted up, get my paints ready. And I may use a little bit more of this Quinacridone Violet. I like that, it's a pretty color. And I'm going to introduce a little bit of yellow-orange. A little bit of yellow-orange. Okay, and I'm also going to wet my palette here so that these are ready to go. Use my palette in a bottle dot sprayer, sold exclusively on Everett's Watercolors. I use that to wet my paints. Put a little water on there, and wet the palette a little bit more. Get a little water. Okay, here we go. So the palette's ready to go, all nice and wet, and my brush is ready to go. I got to load it up a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow. A little bit of yellow lemon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start out by putting a direction of the flow, which is going to be the stem. This is like a vine. This connects some of the flowers. This is some of the leaves together. So it's going to start like this. It's going to be just to get me started on my design. So it's going to have an S shape. That's the configuration. That's the configuration of the design. And that's usually a good thing to do in the beginning, is to decide what sort of configuration you want to use in your painting. And I'm going to go ahead and put in a leaf up here. And I'm going to start with the loaded with the dagger brush, and I'm going to start point. I'll put the point at the tip of the leaf, and I move the brush in a little bit of circular motion. And on the other side, I bring it out, and connect. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit, mix this up a little more blue on this one, and I'll make another one. Another leaf over here, a little smaller. Now I might leave a little white paper showing, just to show a little bit of reflection. Now, if I'm going to paint the leaf coming this way, I need to turn the paper a little bit. So I'm going to turn the paper angle. I'll still use the green, and I'll get this will be a nice bigger leaf over here. And I think what I'll do is I'll switch brushes. I'm going to use the 3/8 inch. So it's a little bit bigger. This is the dagger brush, loaded up from the side, just like I did with the 1/4 inch. And now I'm going to use a little bigger brush. Give me a bigger shape, bigger size. And I'll come down the other side. Using the shape of the brush, and then the point to bring in the detail. Okay, so it gives me a nice shape of a leaf right there. All right, now let's put in some more. I'll use this large brush. I'll put some more. Put another bigger brush in here. So I'm going to take this. Going to point it to the side. Put one side of the leaf on this, and I'll turn the brush. Get the other side of the leaf. And I can leave a little white, maybe I'll leave a little white stem here in the middle. A little white vein in the middle of the leaf. Okay? There's another one. Then I think I'll go back to, I'm going to swip again. I'm going to go back to the smaller brush. I'm moving back to the smaller brush again. So this is the 1/4 inch dagger. I'll go this way first, come into there, and then go over this side. Put that leaf in. And there's one here kind of overlapping a little bit, and also in this section here. So I found this configuration in the flower shop at the store. And I decided, I took a picture of that, and I said, well, that'll make a good composition. But I didn't think about the brush until I started working with it. I said, oh, here's a large one. I'm using the 3/8 inch again. Okay, load it up. See how bright point that makes. So I'll put the point at the tip of the leaf, and then use the body of the brush to bring the body of the leaf around. And then use the other side, turn it over, and get the other side over. Make this a little bit different shape. Now I'm using this almost like a round brush now with a fine point, which is okay. I mean, brushes are interchangeable. Use the brush the way you can use it to its best advantage. I like this because it holds a lot of paint, and it's also I can paint the corners and so forth. Okay, let's go back to the smaller brush again. I'm going to keep swapping back and forth on these two Silver Brush Black Velvets. I'm going to go this way, and I'll go this way. By turning the brush and moving the brush down, I get a nice curve. And I'm going to turn the paper around so I can see what I'm doing. I'm pretty well halfway down now. And let's see. I'll use the I'm using the 1/4 inch again. Go this way. And I'll come back on the other side. You notice I flipped the brush over. I got the brush here for that side, and I flipped the brush to the other side to get the other side of the leaf. So I'm turning the brush in my hand as I form the leaf shape. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to use. Now I'm going to even go bigger. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch silver brush. This is the Golden Natural. Golden Natural. Both of these brushes has natural hair, partial natural hair. They have a blend of natural hair and synthetics. And the natural hair gives you the ability to hold lots of moisture and lots of paint. And then the synthetics gives you a nice control. It gives you a little snap in the bristle. So that's a combination. It's a well-designed brush. Both of these are well-designed brushes. They just are very well made, and they have a good reputation for quality, good quality. Okay. So now I'm using the, as I said, I'm using the large brush. Let me see. Let me take this one here and go. I'm going to take this petal here and come down, twist it a little bit, twist the brush, get that angle, then come over here. I'm going to turn the brush, twist it, get that leaf. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the smaller brush again. So I'm using the brushes what I think would fit the size of what I'm doing. So I could use them. I could use one brush for the whole thing, but I want to show a variety here of different sizes and different brush strokes. Now this side over here I'm going to bring around. I'm turning the paper around, turning the pad so I can get the angle. Now all these leaves now have different angles. Some are straight up and down, some are to the side. So they aren't all facing me. They're all different angles. So I'm trying to show that. And using the 1/4 inch again. We're going to pick up the 3/8. So I'm moving back to the 3/8 again, and get this one in. And I turn the brush over to the other side, get the other angle. And I get one more big one down here. I'm turning the paper around so I can get the right angle. You can see I'm switching the brush around so I get that side of that brush that's got the curve to it. Then I bring down the bottom here where it comes to the connection, or where the stem is. I'll go back to the smaller brush again, which is a 1/4 inch. Got a smaller leaf here. So using the brush that will fit the size. And let's see. And I'll go back to, I'm going to swip off again. The reason I'm switching is I want to show all the different ways that these brushes can be used. And I'm using this curve here to get this shape. I'm twisting it, turning it. Okay. I'm using a 1/2 inch natural hair, or natural. It does have natural hair in with some synthetics. It's called the Golden Natural, which holds a lot of paint. Okay. Now I'm using a 1/2 inch again, a 1/2 inch natural. I'll come in here and do this one more, this section this way. Have the point up here, and bring it down. Okay. All right. All right. What I'll do, I think with the what I have here now, I'm going to go back now with a smaller brush with the green mixture. Load it up on the side. Then I'm going to go back in and clean up some of the marks I have here. I'm going to go back, start at the top. This one is still wet up here. And I'm going to go in and add a little more, just a little more pigment here and there, just to give it a little variety. And I'm adding more pigment to give a little variety, maybe a little shine that's on the leaf, a little either a shine or a little shadow or whatever it is. Just give it a little variety. And I'm also slightly tuning up some of the shape here, just a little bit. Trying to make them all a little different. Not all the same size, but they're all at different angles. And I think by adding a little more paint, I think it needed a little more pigment. The other thing about, just like any kind of brush or like any kind of watercolor, you have to practice the ratio of how much water and pigment you use. And it's just like this little demonstration here. I could use a little less water, but then you don't get as much of a spread. If you get your paint too thick, then it won't go very far. It'll just stay where it is, almost like acrylics or like oils. That if you put too much pigment in the brush, you don't get the flow. So you need to have a flow. With watercolor, it works better when you have a flow. And looser when it's more watery. You have a looser quality of paint. It looks more natural. Okay, so I'm just kind of cleaning up what I started here, making my a little more pigment on the leaves, and I'm drawing the same brush stroke to go back in, add more paint, following the curves of the leaf, using the curve of the brush. I switch the brush over to another angle, get the other side. shape it out. Leave a little bit of white paper on that one, a little bit different. This one here. Clean up the edge just a little bit. So I got like a medium mixture here of paint and water, not too wet, not too dry, and by adding a little more pigment, these show off a little bit better. And the shapes are good. I like the shapes. I'm getting a nice variety of shapes, and I'm using the same brush stroke to add the extra color. Here I'm switching the brush around to get the edge, right edge. I switch the brush this side, and the left edge I switch the brush to the opposite side. So I get that curve in the bristle to follow the curve of the leaf. Now I'll turn my paper around so I get the right angle. You know, it depends on how if you're right-handed or left-handed, or what your stroke is. You just have to practice and learn what's the best way for you. Mine is I turn the paper rather than try to get the brush to move a certain angle. And I'll move the brush around now and get the other side. I just use the other side of the brush over here. Bring it down to a point. Leave some white paper showing for highlights. And I can use the big brush again. I'm going to go back and switch to the 1/2 inch. And make sure I have enough pigment now. I got to get enough pigment here on the palette. So I'm adding more pigment to the leaves. So now I'm adding more pigment to this one here. This is a big brush stroke here, and turn the blade over, get the other side. And this one, just kind of lay the brush. I can almost just lay the brush in there, and just it paints itself. A nice smooth curve in there, and using the curve of the brush, get more pigment, and then use the tip of the brush to get the nice fine point of the leaf, and then use the other side to get the angle I want, and I use the angle I have here. Get the nice curve on that leaf. Load up the brush some more, get more pigment. I'm practicing this brush just about every day because I want to master some of the movements. But every time I get the brush out, it shows me something new. So you learn something new every time you paint or use a brush. You practice the movement, and you'll be surprised how many different shapes you can make with a brush. And by practicing, it becomes easier, become more confident. Yeah, this what I'm finding out here, this really needed more pigment down here, because by the time I got down here, when the paint had dried out, it got real light. So by adding more pigment, these leaves are going to show up much better. This is a nice shape. I love this shape here. Come around, use the brush. I'm using the point a lot, and the edges. I'm going to go back to the small brush again. Got a small. I got a little tighter spot here, so I want to use a smaller. But I'm going back to the 1/4 inch. Load up the brush. A little more pigment. This one over here. This leaf here is a different angle. It's not straight on, it's kind of at an angle, sideways. Using the tip of that brush to get that nice fine point. I'm finding that this is a lot easier to use than the rigger brush in some cases. The rigger brush could be used for this also, but I find that the extra pigment that you can hold in this brush allows you to go a lot longer in the brush strokes. And by having a lot more paint in the brush, you can really do a lot more brush motion without going back to reload. And over here I'll use the outside of the brush. Use a little bit of the tip. Outside the brush to get that curve. Use the tip again. Bring it down. I want to get a sharp edge here. So I'm finishing up these shapes here, adding a little more pigment, to the design. Using the curve of the brush, using the point of the brush, and then the curve of the brush to get the shape of the leaf. And I'm going to use the tip of the brush to smooth out some of the edges a little bit. Come down here to the bottom. These bottom leaves are not as important as those other leaves. These are quarter at the bottom of the brush, or at the bottom of the painting. So we'll bring those out a little bit. And one more. So hope you've seen the advantages of using this type of brush to paint this kind of shapes. This holds a lot more paint than a rigger. And okay, so now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and put some flowers in. And what I'm going to do is use that blue, and I'm going to use, now the design I have here is what I'm going to use. I'm going to start here at the top. I'm going to say pick this flower right here, and so you can see the shape of it. So I'm going to take the blue and just kind of go in there, and it's got like petals on it. So I can use the tip of the brush and just lay it flat and make those marks, and put some space in it. And there's shorter down here at the bottom because it's a different angle. So I'm putting this sort of shape of a flower. I use the photograph as a reference just to give you an idea of the shape. Okay, now there's one down here also. If you see this one down here at the bottom here, on the bottom left, that's a different color, but I'm going to use the blue. I'm not going to switch colors. You can use whatever color you want, but I'm going to use this one. And now what I did is the shape here, you can see that's not exactly in the center. So again, it's got these little petals that are scattered, almost like a daisy shape. That's kind of what I'm using. It's kind of like a daisy. It's a little sharp. It's a little smaller down here. Now, the thing about flowers is you don't have to be perfect on the brush strokes. You can just get something to get a likeness of it. As long as you get something that's close to the shape of it, maybe a few marks that give it some identity of what it could be. And then I've got one more up here, a little small one. This one right here. I like this one right here. Again, it's a different angle. I'll try to get try to pick out three that have different angles. So this one right here is kind of on a side. This one right here in the middle. I'm going to put that over here. I'm going to use the same blue. It's the same petal structure, so it's like a daisy petals. And this one is kind of flatter off to the side, and that's not straight up and down. So I'm going to just kind of follow the photograph here a little bit. Just give me some ideas. And I'll go in here now. Go and add a little more pigment to the petals. But I got that brush stroke now that I like. Just using the tip of the brush. And it's really loaded with paint, lots of paint, so I don't run out of paint as I go around. I can paint the whole flower with one brush load. That's what I like. Okay, all right, now I'm going to paint the centers. And what I thought I'd do is this one down here, I'm going to use the orange. So I'm going to use the yellow-orange for this one down here, next to the blue. And I thought for this one up here, I'm going to use the violet. Use the Quinacridone Violet. And for this last one down here, I thought I'd use a little bit of red. I'm going to use crimson, alizarin crimson for this one here. Now that's almost the same as that violet, but it's got, red has got a different little, when it dries it'll have a different look than that one here. Okay. Now what I thought, now let's take a look close up of that now. I got the leaves and I did the flowers. Now what I want to do is kind of play around with the background just a little bit. And what I thought I'd do is just take the palette colors I have here and I'm going to start with the bigger brush. Just say take the big brush. And I'm going to pick up some of this yellow, green, so forth. I'm just going to start putting some of that in around these flower petals. Just to give it a little contrast of value, light against dark. And I may pick up some more colors, some background colors that would be in the background. Not a. If you look at the background here, you can see the background is faded. There's just all kinds of color back there and behind these flowers. So it can be almost anything you want. So I'm going to start with this light yellow-green mix. And what I'm doing, I'm using the big 1/2-inch dagger brush, and you're going to load it up and just put in this background color. And I'm just going to experiment a little bit here, just playing around with this. But the background can be anything. It can be any color you want. I'm just going to use this yellow, and I'm going to mix in some other colors on top of that to kind of break up this composition a little bit. And you know, some of the yellows here I'm putting on can overlap some of the leaves. It's not, you're not hurting anything on doing that. You just kind of, what that does, it brings the colors together a little bit, so that you know you don't have it, don't have the leaves isolated. They're part of the painting, and the background is part of the painting. So by overlapping a little bit with the background color, you get a little bit of continuity in the painting, a little continuity in the structure. So just adding this little color around, I think, is going to give a little interest. And then I can pick up some other color. I'm going to use another brush now. I'm going to pick up some of that purple, Quinacridone Violet, and kind of put that around. That'll give me some interesting abstract look. And so, and this is the part that takes a little time, because it's something you're just trying to fill in the blanks. I think backgrounds are just as important as the painting itself. And some of these I'm just going to take a swipe of this big brush and just go right over top of this to fill in some of those areas. And leave some white paper showing. The white paper gives a little bit of sparkle in the painting. I always like a little white in my paintings, a little bit, to show little highlights. Mix up some more of that yellow. Mix it in with that green. It's okay. I want to get a light yellow green. It's okay. Lots of water. A light mixture. I'm trying not to go over the top of those flowers, because that to me, I want to leave the leaves. I can get away with a little bit more because they got green in them, and this yellow mixer won't hurt that. And if I soften up some of the edges, that's even better. So I don't want to have all sharp edges. I want to have some sharp edges, some loose edges. And once the painting is dried, I can go back in and sharpen up some of the leaf areas if I wanted to make them stand out more. You know, in painting, it's like a push and pull. You can start with something loose and tighten it up. That's the way to start. Start with a loose painting and then tighten it up a little bit. It's hard to loosen a tight painting. Okay, yeah, I've got to put I'll be connecting the leaves with my stalk again. I'll go back in at the end. I'll put a little darker connection. Right now they're kind of floating out there in space a little bit, but we'll bring them together. I want to bring a little more color around these flowers. Just a little bit. I don't want to mix that yellow in with that blue too much. I'm just trying to eliminate some of that white paper there, just a little bit. So I'm coming in, touching in toward the edges a little bit. And notice I really haven't stopped to dry this at all. I just went ahead and went wet on wet all the way. I thought it'd be more interesting that way. Just kind of keep on moving. Okay. All right. I think what I'll do now. I've been using a 1/4" brush to put a lot of detail on the leaves. Using the 1/2" dagger to put in a larger background area, and I'll be using the 3/8" to put in some connection with the leaves. So let me dry this first of all. Let me put the blow dryer on. Okay, well today's demonstration, number one, I was introducing the Silver Brush Dagger Striper Brush. It's called a dagger, it's called a striper, because it comes to a nice fine point. And I wanted to show you the capabilities of this particular brush. It really has a lot of characteristics that are very, very important in watercolor. You can get a nice abstract look. You can get a lot of detail look. And it acts almost like a small brush. You can also use it like a big brush. Because it holds, I guess one of the best characteristics I can say is that it holds a lot of water and pigment. That's the advantage. And then how you use it depends on the shape and the subject matter that you're trying to capture. And I think one of the things that, as far as landscapes are concerned, is I think trees and bushes and flowers and so forth, it's almost a natural thing to use in that sort of painting or sort of environment. Last weekend I did a plein air sketch on location, and I did trees and bushes and roads, all with the Dagger brush, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I put it on the short. It's on the shorty on my YouTube channel, and it was just last weekend that I did that. So I did that all with the Dagger brush. I did the leaves, the trees, the limbs, the roadway with all the leaves, all the rocks and so forth on it. Let me see if this is dry. Yeah, that's dry now. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to connect. So I've used, again, repeat myself. I've used the 1/4-inch dagger for a lot of the detail on the leaves, and I used it also for the flowers. I did the flower petals and so forth. And I used the 1/2-inch dagger brush for the big areas in the background, putting in the yellows and so forth. Okay. What I can do is I can put a link to the short on the video. I'll put that in the description below. I'll put a link to that video that I did the shorty on, and it will show you the painting I did with the dagger brush. All right, so I'm going to mix up now a little darker mix. I can start with that green. I'm going to bring in some darker blues with that Hooker's green. Okay, now I'm loading the 3/8-inch Silver Brush Black Velvet dagger with a dark green mixture. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect. I start out with that line I showed you before. I'll watch the water content in my mixture. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these leaves together.
more time, you could have put more flowers in today, but they get the idea of what you were trying to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a demonstration. A demonstration of using a dagger brush, and that's what I really working on. That now I had a little couple stalks here on these flowers, and you know, they're intertwined inside the You can also do. I was going to do it today, and I thought I could think about it. You can also put some lettering. You can use this for lettering, which using the fine tip. And I just signed the brush down, or dagger. There. Okay. Takes practice, but that's just a starting point. Just a demonstration. Okay, so let's go back to my main camera. Okay. Well, experimental today with my new dagger brushes, and I got 3 of them on my website, so it will be there. It will be there if you take a look at it. And I'm going to also show a copy of the video of my Plein Air I did last weekend, showing the dagger brush. So Silver Brush Dagger Brush is what it is, and I really love it. So until next week, I'll be back on Thursday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Everett's Watercolors, and then tonight I'll be on tonight at 7:30 with Simply Drawing with Everett. And I got a nice, interesting drawing tonight, so you might interest at 7:30 p.m. this evening for Simply Drawing with Everett. And then on the weekend I do anyone can draw with one line only, and it comes out on Sunday. Okay. And also I put in during the week when I go for walks 3 or 4 times a week, I do a sketch while I'm out walking. So I put a little short video out there each time I do something I'm proud of, and I do a walk and sketch journal, which I document the walk, I document the sketch, and I put the results in this little journal I'm making. And I'm going to show that to you here down the road. I got it almost completed, but it's just one journal, and I'll have to pick up another one. It's using an old composition book and put together a good composition of everything I've done over the last week or last month or so. And that will be a continuation. I really enjoy doing that. So until next week, you all stay safe, and the weather's still warm out there, so stay hydrated and take care, and we'll see you on the next live video. Bye.